Hello everyone, I'm Kalawa and this is Made Simple with us. Today we are going to deal with factorization of algebraic expression. Sit back and relax as I'll be taking you through and all the techniques and all you need to know about factorization in algebraic expression. First, let's understand what is factorization. Factorization means the process of putting an expression in brackets. Putting an expression in brackets. One of the methods used in factorization is called the common factor. This is the general method used to factorize terms in an expression and bring it outside the brackets. So let's dive into example. So let's say we have 4a plus 4b, and then the requirement is say we should factorize this expression. So this is an algebraic expression. This is one term and this is the other term. So to factorize, you say we should what? A method of putting an expression in brackets. So how do we put this in brackets? Remember, one of the methods used is called common factor. So you ask yourself, between these two terms, 4a plus 4b, what is common between them? What you can see in a and you can also see in b. So for this first expression, 4 is common, but there's 4a here and also 4 here. So what do we do is, you take the common factor out, which is 4, and what is remained? The remaining, you place it in the bracket, which is what? A plus b. So this is simple understanding of a common factor when factorizing. Another thing also, let's say we also have this example says 6, change this color, 6x squared minus 10x, and then they ask you to factorize this again. Remember, we say what? In factorization, one of the methods we use is common factor. So among these two sets of terms, this is 6x and this is 10x. What is common between them? Ask yourself this question. One of the things we find out that is common between these two terms is what? X. X is here. We have x here. And we also have x here. So we have got one item that is common. Another thing also that is common in here, we have 6 and we have 10. But always ask yourself these two questions. Remember, this is what the coefficients of x squared, and also this is the coefficients of x. This is 6, is 10. So ask yourself, which number can you divide 6 without any remainder, and that same number you can divide it with 10 without any remainder? So that's how you find the common factor. We have first, we have x as the common factor because we have x here. And then what's remaining is we have 6 and we have 10 here. But you cannot take one of the numbers. You cannot take 6 as a common factor and neither 10. So you can only take number that can be divided by 6 without any remainder. And that same number, it can also be divided by 10 without any remainder. So in this case, 6 and 10, the number that can divide 6 and 10 without any remainder is 2. This can be divided by 2, and also this can be divided by 2. So if we divide 6 by 2, we can have 3. And if we divide 2 by 10, or 10 by 2, we can have what? We can have 5. So meaning, this term is what is going to be in the brackets. So I don't know if we really get it. So because we are using 2 to divide 6 and 10, So this is going to be 2x into, so if we divide 2 by 6, what do we have? 3. And what is here? X squared. So if you have taken one x out, what will remain? It will remain another x. So this is going to be 3x. We go again for the second aspect. Let me just put 2 here for you to understand this. Let me just put division for you to understand. So this is done, right? Okay, let me take this up. So let me just place something for you to understand. So this is 2x. Yeah, dividing now. So let's go into the second aspect. This one is already done because 2 divided by this 6 can put. So that's why we have 3x here. So x divided by x squared, meaning, we remember when you divide, you subtract. So x divided by x squared to remain x. Because it's x squared, meaning it's x times x. So if you divide it by x, the x will cancel to remain x. So that's why we have 3x. So this same 2x, we also divide it by the 10x. So 2 into 5, we are going to add 5 here. And then x divided by x, it is 0. So we only have 5. So this is the factorization way we can leave it. Another thing also, in factorization, let me go back again. This is the original equation. The original equation is saying 6x squared minus 10x. That we should factorize this. So after we are factorizing, we arrive at 2x into 3x minus 10. Now, if we multiply this 2x into brackets, the answer must also equal to this question. So let's go. So if we say 2x times 3, this is going to give us 6x squared. And then this same 2x multiplied by 5 is going to give us minus 10x. So what do you see here? We can see that when we multiply, it's going to give us the same answer, just as the question says. So I hope we are getting it and making it very simple way for you guys to understand. So this is what is meant by factorization, and this is how we use common factors. So let's continue again. Let's take another example. Let's say also we have 3a x plus 6ay. This is one example. So how are we going to do this again? Remember, we follow the same procedure. Let's ask ourselves, between these two terms, 3ax and 6ay, what is common between them? What can we see in this first term? And the same thing we can also see in the other term. That's the one question you ask yourself. In this case, we can see a here, and we can also see a here. So meaning we take this a out. That's the first step. And then also ask yourself again. This is when there's coefficient between the variables. So you ask yourself between the two coefficients. So let's just take the coefficients out. This is 3, this is the coefficient, and this is 6. These are the two coefficients. So if we take 3 and 6 out, which is the coefficient, and then you ask yourself, which number or what number can you divide 3 without any remainder, and that same number can be divided by 6 without any remainder? So the answer is 3. We can divide 3 by itself without remainder, and we can also divide 3 by 6 without remainder. So since we know that it is 3, so we also take 3 out. So are we listening? So if we divide this by 3, this will give us 1. And if we divide 6 by 3, this is going to give us 2. So this 1 and 2 is what's supposed to be in the brackets, including the variables. So the number that can be divided, the two coefficients without any remainder, that's the number we are going to place outside the brackets. Remember, common factor, we always take the common factor outside the brackets, because when we do the inverse, it will give us the same answer just as the question. So we say this one again into, so we'll continue. So what is left here? Remember, there's 1. 3 divided by itself is 1. So because it's 1, 1 times what? And what is here? This is a. This is a, right? So we cannot say again into ax because we already have a outside, which we have taken. If this should have been a square, that's the period where we should have said ax. But in this case, there's no a square. There's no a square. So therefore, we only have 1a. So meaning 1a divided by a is 1. And that's, and 1 multiplied by x, it is x. So what is remaining here is x. So this is x. Plus, we go again to 6. Remember, this same 3 that we used to divide 3 divided by 3, this same 3 again, we are going to divide it by 6. So when we divide this 3 by 6, that's why we have 2 here. So in other words, this 2 is supposed to be in the brackets. So this is 2. So what is remaining here? A. But remember, we have a outside. So we cannot place again a because a divided by a is 0, or we say 1. So what is left here? It is y. So this is the simplest form. We can leave this answer. And if we do the inverse, let's just do the inverse for you to prove we can still have the same answer. We can still have the same answer. This is a. So let's do the inverse now. Let's just say 3a to x plus 2y. So let's multiply. 3a multiplied by x, this is going to give us 3ax, right? And then this same 3a multiplied by 2y, this is going to give us plus 3 times 2, this is going to give us 6ay. So now compare. Is it not the same? Compare this and this. So that's the good thing about factorization. Whenever you are done solving factorization, always do the inverse. So in factorization, what they are saying is, let's say they ask you to find the factors of 6. The factor of 6 meaning numbers you can multiply, or we say to find the product of 6. So meaning this is going to be 2 by 3 because 2 by 3 is going to give us 6. So this is what factorization is saying. And this is what factorization is all about. So factorization, they only need this 2 by 3. They know that 2 times 3 will give you 6. But this is what is meant by factorization, to put it in this product form. 2 by 3 will give you 6. It's that simple. And let's say also we have 8. Let's say to give to factorize 8. We know that 2 by 4 will give you 8. And then we also know that 2 by 2 by 2, 2 times 2, 4 times 2 will also give you 8. So one of these two, either we say 2 times 4 or we say what? 2 times 2 times 2. This is also going to give us 8. So in factorization, they only need this. They know that if you multiply these 2 terms or these 2 numbers, they can give you 8. So they want it in this form. So get this in your mind. So this is the common factor. Now we are going to solve a lot of examples. In our next video, we are going to do with the second method, which is method of grouping. But for this video particular, we only consider the common factor, which we take outside. In our next video, we are going to do is the method of grouping. So let's take again another example of this same common factor. Let's say now we have it's another example. We have 100x minus 25x squared, and then they asked you to factorize this. Remember what I said. Ask yourself this question: between these two terms, what letters that is in the first term, and also you can find the same letters in the second term. It's obviously x, so we take x out, right? It's not done yet. The other question again is you ask yourself, you observe the expression. you observe the coefficient now. This is 100 and this is 25. You observe the two coefficients and ask yourself, which number can you divide the coefficient without any remainder? And that same number can be divided to the other coefficient without any remainder. That's the method you should always apply when dealing or when finding the common factors in factorization. One, ask yourself which two variable that you can see in the first term and it can also appear in the second term. And that's we have taken out, which is x. And then the second aspect, you observe the coefficient of the variable. So the two coefficients here, we have 100 and we also have 25. So if you observe, 25 can be divided by itself and it can also divide by 100. So 25 by itself is 1 and 25 into 100, this is 4. So this 4 and 1, this is what's supposed to be in the brackets. And the 25 is supposed to be outside because it's a common factor. The 25 is what you can use to divide the 100 without any remainder and also divide 25 by itself without any remainder. So 25 here is the common factor. So this should always be outside. This is the common factor. So you place it now. This is going to be now 25x. Now you now have the common factor. What's supposed to be in the bracket now? Remember I said we should consider what? This 4 and the 1. And we include the variable if it's supposed to be. So if we take now 25x times 4 will give you what? 100x. Because what? This is x, this is x, and this is x. So x divided by x is obviously 1. So therefore we only left with what? And 1 times 4, it only left with 4. Minus this 25 again. So what do we have here? This is 4, right? And we have here 1. So 1 times x squared is supposed to be x squared. But remember, we have x here. So let me just demonstrate it this way. So x squared, this is simply like if we say x times x divided by, what do we have outside? What do we have about the common factor is x. So if we divide this, what will remain? So this comes to this. What will remain? To only remain x. So therefore, this is supposed to be 4 minus x. So this is the common factor. This is the factorization way we can leave this answer. So let's do the inverse again. We can still arrive at the same answer. Always after you done solving, do the inverse to cross-check your answer. So if we do the inverse again, 25x times 4, this will obviously going to give you 100x, and then 25x multiplied by x is going to be minus 25x squared. So this is what is known as factorization, and this is the common factor. So this is one method of factorization. So don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification button.